Two core choices that are going to help you scale your business, or they're going to screw it over. They're going to cause you to be stuck, to stay stagnant, to just feel like you're not making any progress. We're going to talk about those two core choices because the very cool thing about it is they have nothing to do with sales or marketing. You might be trying different tactics in your business, trying to grow, and they're not working. It has nothing to do with that. It's also not your fault that it's been happening. And I'm going to explain why that is and what's actually getting in the way from you making these choices. And then we're going to talk about how this is 100% in your control. You're not dependent upon anybody else, not any social media algorithm or ad costs or networking to get this growth in your business. And so these two core choices are really pivotal. And I want to make sure that you are empowered to take control of them and to start putting those into practice so you can grow your business. Let's talk about whose fault is it anyway? It is something that is actually really trying to benefit you. And that's that ancient reptilian part of our brain, the amygdala, which is basically sending these messages to your everyday life saying, stay safe, looking for threats, saying, that's a problem. This is a threat. This is going to cause us harm. That part of our brain is constantly looking for the threats out there. And it's doing that because that ancient part of our brain has kept us alive. But this ancient part of our brain is trying to serve us when it does that. It's also the source of any of those false beliefs or past traumas, those things that kind of mobilize you from taking action. As the amygdala is doing its job, it's really working to keep you safe, but it's also stopping you in your tracks. It's also stopping you from making further progression. It's not your fault. It's the way that our bodies are wired, the way that our minds are wired as human beings. And it's stopping you from making these two choices, the things that are going to help you grow your business versus staying stuck. It's literally saying to you, that thing is scary, stay safe, don't do it. Procrastinate, avoid, don't go do that scary thing. Don't take risks because we want you to stay safe. The issue is a lot of the things that are on the other side of growth, they have risk involved or they require us to do something different that we wouldn't normally do. And our amygdala says, no, back the truck up. I don't want to do that. We're just going to keep you safe. And here's a memory. And here's a memory of all the ways in which last time you did something scary, it didn't work out for you. And you better just stop right here and just avoid or procrastinate. And so these things catch up to us eventually because the more and more we make these safe decisions, the more and more we are training our brain to say, hey, let's just follow what the amygdala says. Let's just follow that ancient instinctual part of our brains and not use our problem-solving skills, our frontal cortex, anything else that might help us to mitigate the risk and actually build forward momentum and progress. So that's why it's been happening to you. That's why you get stuck. That's why you don't do the things that you have said to yourself that you should do or ought to do. And you've avoided maybe some of those things in your business that end up screwing over your business growth, that cause you to stay stagnant. And so how do we actually do that? It comes down to these two core choices. Well, let's look at some symptoms. You're going, no, Rachel, that's not me. But if you're getting into some of these symptoms where rather than doing the thing, if you're feeling stuck and instead you're blaming other people for being stuck, maybe it's an employee's behavior, maybe it's a client or contractor, you're also looking at the economy and going, oh my gosh, it's going to be so hard to scale. I might as well not try it. Or there's so many decisions I'm going to have to make. I just want to be a lawyer. I just want to be a video editor. I just want to be a marketer. I don't want to learn how to do all these different things. And so all of these messages, these are all ways in which we stay small, in which we screw over our business and we screw over ourselves and our own personal potential for growth. These are some of the things to look for is, are you looking outside of yourself at things that you can't control? You're only reacting to. And when we get into that reactive mode, that's again a sign that ancient part of our brain has been put in control. We're not using all of the gifts that we've been given and all of our intelligence, our frontal cortex to do that problem solving. And so it is serving you to do this, right? It's serving you to stay safe. And it's serving you, but it's screwing over your business and your potential for growth in the process. And so if you want to say, I want to grow, if you want to scale your business, we've got to look beyond those safety measures and start looking at how we take some risks and how we use our problem solving to get beyond this. So to stay safe, we end up identifying our enemies, we start blaming others, and we justify our lack of action by, this is the thing that's helping me stay safe. So to change that, here's what we're going to focus on. We're going to focus on the two things that we have absolute control of at any time: our actions and our attitude. Let me repeat that. You've got two things that you can control. These are your two core choices in any situation: your actions and your attitude. Now, in some circumstances, it might feel like you don't have different options for taking action. And there is some truth to that. You might have resource constraints, or you might be in a situation where you really don't want to choose something. But in the end, it is always a choice. It just might be that your values say, I don't want to walk away from this situation because this is more important. Or you might truly be trapped. Viktor Frankl, if you've not read Man's Search for Meaning, an excellent book, he talks about being in a Nazi concentration camp during the Holocaust. And one of his quotes really talks about this power of having a strong desired outcome and a strong set of values that guided him, even though he was in the worst possible circumstances. I don't think any of us could come up with worse possible circumstances than this, but his quote is, "The last of the human freedoms to choose one attitude in a given set of circumstances, in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way." That is the ultimate freedom. So even if you can't choose your actions, you can choose your attitude. Let's give some examples here. When we think about a poorly performing employee, we can easily get stuck into that survival part. I need to be safe. They are a threat to me. They are stopping me from growing my business. And we start blaming them and we see them as other. Now, we can take different actions when it comes to that poorly performing employee. We can talk to them. We can mentor them. We could look at our own actions and whether we have given them the context that they need, whether we have supported them fully, whether we're understanding their communication value. We can also choose to do things like exit that employee out of our business. Complaining about that person isn't taking you any further. It's screwing over your business and it's causing you to feel stuck. But when we take action, when we look and get that frontal cortex to start looking at all of the possible options and start problem solving, take full responsibility for our actions, that's when we can start to see growth. Now, you might not like what that option is. You might feel uncomfortable with exiting somebody from your business. You might feel uncomfortable with having a coaching conversation with that person to figure out how you can better work together and how you can get them to their full potential within your business. But even so, you have other opportunities, you have other actions that you can take, and that's always within your control. What you can't control is them. You can't control their personality. You can only guide that person to a better state of being and a better state of functioning within your company, or you can choose to exit them, but you can't control them. And so when we're in this mode of blaming and shaming and considering them that they're our enemy, we're working off of that ancient part of the brain, as opposed to this more modern part of our brain, our frontal cortex, which is involved with problem solving and forward progress and forward momentum, which is exactly what we want for our life and our business. Now let's look at the attitude side of things. Let's look at the economy, right? For the most part, that is outside of our control, what is happening in the economy. And things in the economy could make you very concerned. It might make people in your business very concerned. But you still have the attitude choice to say, how am I going to think about this situation? Am I going to think about this as a problem? Am I going to surround myself? This is how action and attitude play together. Am I going to surround myself with people for whom their attitude is always dire, always looking at the bad things happening? Or am I going to surround myself with other people who are using that frontal cortex and being problem solvers? So we can shape our attitude through our actions, and we can shape our actions through our attitude, which is that we're looking at this as an opportunity. There are plenty of businesses who have grown in a recession, and I'm going to be one of them. I can be one of them if I can be a great problem solver. But when we get into woe is me, this is a problem, this is a threat, we shut down that problem solving ability. Now think of it this way. It's like your brain has two roads that it can go on. You come to a fork in the road, and at that fork in the road, one of the roads is smooth, it's paved, just like getting on the interstate, no tolls, just getting on the interstate and cruising right along. And then the other pathway is like that bumpy dirt road with construction. It's going to be backed up. It's not going to be pleasant. It's going to take an extra long time. Your brain wants to get there fast. It wants to be efficient. It wants to keep you safe, but it also wants to be efficient and fast and go on the easiest neural pathway. And that neural pathway is going to be the one that is best paved. It's going to be the interstate pathway. And so the more you've been using your amygdala, your ancient part of the brain, the more you have paved that pathway. And so the moment you start taking control of these actions and attitudes to start paving the way towards your frontal cortex, getting into that higher value, higher integrity, more problem solving part of your brain, you have the ability to shift from that interstate pathway being the one towards the fear-based, the stagnancy side of it, screwing over your business and your personal growth, to paving the way to scaling your business, to making those better choices and problem solving. And so really think about every time you make these choices, even these little micro choices, they help pave that road. And so it becomes easier and easier over time. So the great thing about these two choices that you have, always in your control, your action and your attitude, even when action doesn't really feel like it's in your control, when it's something happening to you or happening at you, you still have the ability to choose how you're going to react to it in terms of your actions and your attitude. But starting with attitude, because those two play off of each other. And the more you make those choices, the more you tap into these choices that will help you scale your business as opposed to screwing it over and stopping growth, the easier and easier it becomes. So go ahead as you go out and you enter your day, think about how are you managing your attitude and managing your actions to be at the most empowering level possible, because I want you to be able to scale your business. And having these two things in your pocket, these are the two things that you can always, always control. So take full advantage of them and empower yourself to grow your business and your life and the opportunities around you. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and click that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video.